Welcome back to my channel, guys. Now, I am Feeder Master raheemglaveschess. If you want to play chess so well that you're going to be accused of cheating after, then watch this video. No more one move blunders. Understand the mindset of a Feeder Master, guys. I'll be breaking down my thoughts. So simple. Again, I'm going to even show the proof right after the guy was like, this guy must be cheating. It can't be humanly possible to play this well. So yes, let's get right into the video, guys, and take out the popcorn. So we're playing against a 2466, but again, I'll be explaining my thoughts so that every single person can understand. I have just pushed my pawn to e4, and now my opponent goes pawn to d6. He could be playing the Philidor's defense. So I'm going to be taking the center, as this is what we do in chess. We try to take as much space as possible when playing. So now knight to c3. We always check to see what our opponent is threatening before we move. In this case, it was the pawn on e4. So that's the reason why I developed this knight instead of the natural knight to f3. So he's now going knight to d7, and I'm gonna again just proceed with development, simply bringing my knight to f3. And now I'm expecting this move pawn to e5, which he plays. So he's again putting, it's like e4 e5, but just not going into like super theoretical lines. Now I'm gonna just continue with normal development. I'm just gonna get my bishop to the most active square possible, which is c4. Now putting pressure on my opponent's half of the board. Now, whenever you have active pieces, you can always look for moves in your opponent's territory. Now, bishop takes f7 is an idea, but it doesn't work. I want you guys to even visualize. You could actually use this as a small exercise of like the knight coming to g5 and then hopping to e6. So just look at it. We have bishop takes, king takes, and knight to g5. After this king moves, then there is knight e7. Unfortunately, it's not something that works, but it's just something to keep in mind. Whenever somebody puts like a piece attacking in your area of the board, always check the tactics on that part. So let's just simply get our king to safety. We're just proceeding again with just normal principles. And he's going to castle his king as well, all right? And now I want to take out my final piece, which is this bishop on c1. So I want to put it on e3, but normally persons get like super annoying and start like harassing the bishop. So I'm going to be playing this move pawn to h3 first. So by putting the pawn on h3, I am going to be putting my bishop on e3 next, and I would have officially completed the opening phases of the game. Now, my opponent took some time and played pawn to c6. We must always check to see what our opponent is threatening before we move. And we always check like the forward moves. So in this case, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than before. But a4 is normally an idea whenever you see c6. Now, this is also a good reason why it is somewhat important to understand your pawn structures. You tend to know what each pawn play would actually tend to come with. But for now, just keep it simple. We have a4, bishop developed, and now we're going to be finishing the development pronto. So bishop to e3, and we have our two knights, our two bishops in the game, and we also have center control. Now, this guy is doing something which is, again, a chess sin. So he's basically taking and improving my pieces. So he has just allowed my knight to move from f3 to the center of the game. And now, this is where he has gone mad. Now, this is a 2466, but at the same time, what is this? Now, if we count the amount of attackers versus defenders, I have 1, 2, 3 defenders of the square, and he only has 2 defenders of that d5 square. So that is now giving me the green light to take. He's gonna put like an intermezzo move, which is knight b6, but I want you guys to actually realize that what he's doing is still, it's nothing too serious. But d5 is a natural move. So for top rated players, but in general, remember 1, 2 versus 1, 2, 3. we are winning this battle, guys. So I took, he could not just simply recapture, or he would be losing a pawn. So he plays this intermezzo move, knight to b6, to put pressure on these two areas right. No, the first thing that comes to my mind is not retreating my bishop anywhere. It is to actually put a counter strike. And what do I mean by this? Moves like pawn to d6, just something forward, which could actually create some problems. I'm not really seeing exact way to actually put some pressure moving forward in this scenario, so I'll just simply get my bishop back. But just note, it's not the first thing I always tend to do. So you check your forward moves first. If the forward moves aren't working, then we resort back to simply natural moves. So knight takes d5, let's simply recapture. I'm expecting knight takes d5. And now my bishop on e3 looks a little bit misplaced. Now bishops again are super important. So you don't want to be giving up these pieces for knights. So I don't want to be taking here, and I don't want to give up this bishop. So I'm going to actually tuck this piece all the way back to c1. Now, I could have also played bishop to d2, but then there is bishop f6, which is super annoying. And again, like a lot of attacking ideas on that knight. So bishop back to c1. Also realize that the bishop was eyeing down the b2 pawn if I'm not careful. So he goes here. And now we have pawn to c3. I'm going to be speeding this up a little. And I could actually take my bishop back out in the future. But for now, I have to just like stick with the pawn in c3 and just simply play this position. Now, both of us are having a problem, which is our bishops don't actually have like a crystal clear way to get into the game. He just played this move q to h5. Maybe he's planning to put some pressure here. Now in chess, we call this a backward pawn. So I'm gonna, or iso pawn, sorry. So I'm gonna like now take with my bishop and bring my knight back. And we're gonna be eyeing down that isolated queen's pawn on d5. Let's just finish my development now. But this is just like simply me getting my final piece into the game. And we're going to be putting pressure on that d pawn if he gives me the chance. Now, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be trying to swap some pieces off the board and actually just simply playing against that d5 pawn. So in chess, whenever you have a weakness, you need to be putting as much pressure on that as possible. And you want black to be defending the weakness extremely passively. So if he has like his rook stacked behind the pawn, like anything that is like passive, that's what you're trying to aim for. Black has his queen on h5. This is currently a very active piece. If we could force black's queen to actually go into somewhere passive, where it's not really doing much other than simply protecting the pawn, that's what we are technically striving for when we have our opponents with a structural weakness. So now he is actually again just playing this extremely active, and we will waste no time in this position. I'm expecting after knight to e5 that he tries like queen f5, but I'll be completely okay in this scenario. This is simply offering a queen trade, and we're going to see exactly how my opponent is planning to respond to this. So queen to f5 is expected, and I'm calculating if I can actually find time to play q takes d5. If I can't, I'll just simply settle on knight to d3. But realize that black has already started the attack, but the pieces, this bishop in particular hasn't found a way into the game as yet. So it could just sit on c8 and try to actually just put pressure on that pawn. On the other hand, I'm going to start to get my pieces forward in my opponent's territory. So we have seen here where he has gone for the queen f5. So if I take and he takes, I simply take this. So I'm expecting after takes like some movements with like bishop back to d6. Still seems okay for me, so let's just simply take it. And we're attacking the bishop on d6. This is just a free pawn, guys. So let's see what he's having up his sleeve. Could play bishop d6. It goes bishop to e7 instead. And My queen is currently pinned, so I have to be, again, super careful. I just realized something. What happens if he actually played bishop to d6? I would just like to just drop my bishop back, but here bishop is under attack. Could solve it with bringing my queen back to f3. I expect rook to f6. Tricky position. Let's go here. Let's just keep my extra pawn and preserve my bishop. Now I have 3 minutes and 25 seconds, and I'm looking to maybe get more pieces into the game. So like I have rooks. I could swing like one rook to d, one rook to e. And let's see how this one is going to go down. So this bishop is still pinned down to the pawn on b7, so it's really still not at its best currently. Yeah, what is black going to actually do in this scenario? What is he planning to do in this scenario, guys? Let's see. So he has now witnessed absolute perfection from the master himself, and we are seeing that he has actually played queen to g5 after some series of thoughts. Now always check what he's threatening before you move. So even the forward moves, we're now seeing that my bishop is pinned. So if he takes it, that is indeed a free piece, and Christmas has not yet reached. So we do not give these types of pieces away. So let's go king to h2, simply stepping out of the pin. And he maybe thinks that it's actually Christmas really, but it's not. So king to h2, and we preserve the piece. And we're going to be seeing exactly how this man is planning to get out. So he goes now rook h6. Am I a fan of this? Gives me more pawns. He gives me more pawns, guys. Like, this guy is extremely generous. Alright, let's go rook here. This comes with the immediate threat of knight f7. No, I know what you guys are saying. Like, what? Knight f7? How is this a actual threat? Now remember, whenever you have two pieces on the same file or line, or just like showing contact with each other, if you can move your piece in front of it with like a tempo, then yes, this is where discovered attacks tend to work. If he takes my queen, then I'm going to be playing knight takes h6 intermezzo and then recapturing the queen. So we could have like a small visualization exercise one more time. So like knight takes f7, queen takes queen, and knight takes h6 followed by rook takes d5. My opponent will resign. So what are we expecting in this position? Could be looking at queen f5. Yeah, that could actually be it. He could be looking at queen f5, guys. Because the same thing doesn't work, because he can actually take back with the queen. Let's see how is he planning to respond to my moves. And again, like, remember that this pawn is also hanging, so he has to be extremely careful. So if I take this, he's gonna take my queen. I'm gonna take with check and take, and then I'll be down a whole piece. So let's take this. All right. So we're now up. What's this? 2 pawns. Yeah, we're up like 2 whole pawns, guys. So far so good. And I'm also threatening to get this to e. What in the unholy biscuits? What is this? Like I checked this, but wow. 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 I don't get it. So I take it. What is his response? Like, I saw this, but like what? What's happening? If I push, is he gonna like sack this as well? It's like one way to find out. Let's see what he saw. But he just gave me so in other words, I'm up 2 pieces and oh, whoa, okay. Counter attack. Swing. He might sack his rook. He actually might sack the rook, guys. I'm not even joking. If he sacks his rook, I'm gonna play the gangster. King to G. And he's gonna resign. Yeah, I'm threatening just mating too, so he has to be careful. He has to be careful, guys. I have a minute, but still, it's like quite enough. Quite enough. What does this man have up his sleeve? 3 minutes for my opponent, and he lost position because I'm also threatening to take the rook and swing my queen and win this rook as well. So it's a lost cause, guys. It's just done. It's finished. It's finished. The genius cannot be messed with. Did he resign? Oh, he's asking for a chat. Let me accept. Guys, I am being... Wow. Oh, I need to actually like put this in the actual YouTube video as well. I am being called a cheater for my fantastic play. Let's go, guys. Hold on, hold on. What have we learned here today, guys? Chess is 100% brutal. So yes, subscribe to the channel. Guys, I'm going to even upload this. You will be called a cheater once you play like this. I am a FIDE master. And he has resigned. Subscribe for more videos like this, guys. Let's go. Let's go.